Y'all ever heard about Jesus? You know, he's the guy with the long hair, abs for days, and depending on who you ask, blonde hair and blue eyes. He's that guy old people spend all Sunday learning about right before they take their afternoon trip to Applebee's to verbally abuse the waitstaff. Well, if you haven't heard of him, then you obviously don't live in the southern United States. Throw a stone down there and you'll hit 15 billboards screaming some kind of religious propaganda.
Are you seriously trying to explain who Jesus is?
Yeah. For some reason I am. He's also got a book written about him too. You ever read that thing? There are some wacky shenanigans that happen in between those pages. He doesn't just have books written about him either. He's got movies, television shows.
I have come.
A lot of them about vegetables for some reason.
We were in slavery!
And you better believe he's got video games. There were tons of these back in the day with some big heavy hitters like Super 3D Noah's Ark and the Bible game. Well, yeah, really creative title there, guys. There was even a Dance Dance Revolution ripoff that only used Christian rock and pop songs. Christian games were big until about the mid-2000s when they started to fall out of favor. It was around this time when licensed shovelware and all other forms of video game crap were being churned out onto the market, and not to bash my boy JC or anything, but his games usually just weren't that great. Most of them really felt like the old edutainment games from the late 90s, obviously because they focused more on teaching you the stories of the Bible instead of having any actual fun gameplay. Finding an actual Christian game in 2024 is easier said than done. Thanks a lot, Biden. But you can be successful if you know where to look. As we discussed in my last video, which you should go check out by the way, Steam has a metric ton of games in its shop. And Jesus games are no exception. In this video, we'll be taking a look at some of the weirdest and worst Jesus games you can find on Steam. And yes, before you ask, I did spend money on some of these.
Still not your worst financial decision.
First off, let's go ahead and get things started with the game that inspired this whole video to begin with. Jesus Christ Simulator. The moment I saw this game pop up on my screen, I knew I had to make a video on it. I mean, look at this. Look at all the different flavors of Jesus you can choose from. Obviously, I have to use conservative poster child Jesus. And what's this? Christ lasers? Well, of course I'm gonna pick red. That's the best color to purge sins from one's soul. Alright, enough horsing around. Let's see what this game is actually all about. And, oh, excellent. Immediately, we're met with an AI art loading screen of an absolutely ripped Jesus. This is the version of Jesus that turned water into creatine. I mean, at least I think this is Jesus because it looks suspiciously like Nick Cage. You know, it also kind of looks like he's wearing a toga or some kind of robe or something, but for some reason, off on the other side of his chest, I can see what looks like a phantom nipple. And let's not forget about those feet. God, I would have hated to have been the disciple that had to wash those dogs. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's this kind of game. Yep, this is a 100% accurate Jesus simulation. Basically, this is pretty much just a superhero sandbox with a religious coat of paint on it. You can fly around, cleanse sins with your eye lasers, told you red was the best color for that, and save people from all kinds of precarious situations. Like, seriously, how does someone get crushed under a boulder on top of a building? Wait a second, wait. Is that Howard Wolowitz from The Big Bang Theory? To be honest, literally every aspect of this game, from the Superman-esque flying to the Hollywood core music, feels exactly like if Marvel tried to bring Jesus into the MCU. But Jesus isn't your average everyday superhero, oh no, he's a miracle worker. But Jesus isn't your average everyday superhero, oh no, he's a miracle worker. And you better believe you can work all kinds of miracles in this game. Using your patented God Eye, or as I like to call it, Christ Vision, you can see what struggles are personally affecting every mortal soul. Oh, you poor downtrodden beggar, allow me, the Son of God, to grant you shelter by signing a 12-month lease for an apartment that includes television and high-speed internet.
Thanks.
What? Really? I agree to sign a year-long lease for this guy, and all he says is, thanks. Forget you. I'm going to bless someone who actually appreciates my miracles. Like you, good sir. I see you're struggling with divorce. Every divorced man wants a brand new car, so here, it's on me.
Thanks.
Actually, on second thought, I think I want that back. My child, please allow me to wash away your sins with only the holiest of water.
I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Oh my God. Jesus, what are you baptizing this guy with? Sulfuric acid? One thing that's particularly interesting about this game is that it lets you perform some, I'll just say, less than holy actions. Like, for instance, the ability to blast apart ATMs and just take all the money from inside. Or just being able to straight up break into a bank vault and steal tons of cash. Oh, okay, this is all from the Bank of Greed. Oh, all right, yep, never mind. That makes it perfectly fine. While it is pretty base to have Jesus steal from giant banks like this, it does feel out of character for the Son of God, but I guess it does say in the Bible to steal from the rich and give to the poor, so it all checks out. Not only that, but you can even hack into the government and one by one delete the student loan debt of everyone in North America. This is honestly the most unrealistic part of the game. How in the world does Jesus know how to use command prompt? Didn't he die in like 1500 BC?
I want you to take a good long moment and think about the words that just came out of your mouth.
While battling the corruption of humanity is all well and good, eventually you gotta take the fight to the source itself. And what would that be other than the forces of hell? You can use all sorts of holy powers to smite the demonic spawn that has taken over the world. Powers like a ton of rocks, or the ability to literally melt demons' flesh with Jesus' own blood. Now what could be more heavy metal than that? And once you've cleansed the world of demons, you can take the fight straight to hell itself. Okay, so it turns out hell is kind of mid. It's just a big, boring desert with a couple haunted houses and a ton of treasure chests for some reason. The main thing you can do here is save souls from damnation and send them to heaven. I've never expected to see +1 soul sent to heaven as a video game statistic, but seeing it now is absolutely hilarious. Also, in accordance with your godly powers, you can further condemn souls to hell if you feel their crimes were a little bit too sinister. What'd you do? War crimes? Everybody breaks the Geneva Convention now and again. It's perfectly fine. Alright, what about you? Framing innocent people. Hey, nobody's completely innocent. I'm sure they did something wrong. And, let's see, what? Slumlord? Landlord alert! Landlord alert! To the deepest pits of hell with you. Damn, Jesus, that was, pretty brutal. Alright, well, made some miracles on Earth, saved some souls from hell. I guess there's only one thing left to do. I mean, this is the second coming of Christ after all. Rapture time! Ooh, yeah. This is pretty bad. Sorry, mortals, but your boy gotta bounce. Finally, back home in heaven. No offense, God, but this place kind of sucks. But don't worry, I know exactly how I can spice this place up. There we go. Now this is the afterlife where I want to spend eternity. Okay, so that was a game where we got to see a pretty benevolent Jesus. Well, mostly. You know, that still looked less painful than when I baptized that dude with water earlier. But what if we got to see a more sinister side of everyone's favorite prodigal son? My friends, let me introduce you to Christ's Revenge, the demo. Just so you know, the moment I booted this game up, my computer's fans went, you know, opening up your game with a Playmobil priest strung up on a cross feels more sacrilegious than anything we've seen yet. Do I know what hell is? No, but I have a sneaking suspicion I'm about to find out.
Hell is being stuck in this room for eternity with you.
This may just be me, but I don't know. When I booted up a game called Christ's Revenge, I expected something a little more provocative, a little gritty, not something like this.
Welcome back, my son. Where have you been? It has been 2,000 years since I have seen you.
What, 2,000 years? I don't know, Father. I remember hanging out and eating with friends. Then everything goes as it.
I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say to this. Why does Jesus sound like someone doing a bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression? Why is this cutscene being shown to me on 3 different screens? Is this supposed to be heaven? Because it feels a whole lot more like hell. The dialogue in this game is absolutely insane, and it begins with 100% made up Bible verses.
In the time of the end, when the world had grown dark and corrupt, the Son of God returned once again. He walked unto heaven and spoke again with his Father. Genesis 13:37.
Jesus. The game seriously just called him Jesus. Yeah, this is definitely something I remember from the Bible. I mean, I can recite the passage right now. And lo, Jesus drove his miniature truck down the yellow brick road, teaching his followers with joy and laughter, for he said unto them, In my Father's house are many paths, and all roads shall lead to the kingdom of heaven. Rejoice and follow me, for I am the way, the truth, and the life. Smegmalations 420. Might I be so bold to ask, why is the tiny screen part of the truck? Why can't I take it with me? Oh, yeah, and if you couldn't already tell just from watching, controlling this tiny truck is about as easy as trying to butter a cob of corn with your genitals. So what's your reward for reaching the end of this exhilarating driving sequence? Well, you know what? I'm just going to show you, because I don't have words for what you're about to see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. When I first saw this, I seriously think I suffered about 10 points of psychic damage. This was the last thing I expected from a game, once again, I repeat, called Christ's Revenge. Oh, is that a ragdoll button I see? Oh, okay then. I already know what kind of crap we're in for. And yeah, as you probably already guessed, this game is nothing more than half-baked tuber bait that feels like it was put together with popsicle sticks and glue. And you better believe it is one of the most infuriating things I've ever played in my entire life. Oh, hey, would you look at that? Not even 5 minutes into the game, and I'm already soft-locked. For a game about Jesus, there is nothing holy about this game. It is one of the most sinful things I've ever played. But I will give it some credit. It's got some pretty decent cloth physics. Even though I felt in every fiber of my being that I needed to just immediately cut my losses and stop playing this game, I persevered through it, and you know what? It absolutely was not worth it in the least. This is what you get when you reach the end of the level. You get to annihilate a bunch of random dudes with your holy Jesus powers. You know, with Jesus being all peace and love and stuff, these games really like to show him absolutely torturing random people. All right, I know obviously these games are big jokes. I mean, what did you expect from games called Jesus Christ Simulator and Christ's Revenge? But for our next game, I'm honestly not sure if the developers were genuine or not in its creation. This, everybody, is I Am Jesus Christ. Right from the get-go, this game has way more production value than either of the games we've played so far. Oh yes, these are definitely total normal looking humans. Yep, no skinwalkers here, no siree. So as you can likely tell from this opening sequence, this game is more of a direct retelling of Jesus' journey, which will obviously make for a fun and enthralling gameplay experience, right? No, you're not. The game begins with Jesus being woken up by what I can only assume is a fairy from the Deku Tree, because this whole segment is directly ripped from the beginning of Ocarina of Time. You know, this game is kind of oddly similar to Zelda in a few weird ways. You have a companion that's a glowing orb. You go on a number of quests that mainly involve talking to people. Even the sound when you get a new objective sounds like it was ripped straight from a Zelda game. I'll go ahead and give the game some credit. They did a really good job with a lot of the smaller details. I mean, just look at the Christ robes. They are absolutely spot on. And they completely nailed Jesus' ability to walk on fire. If only they did half as good a job on the performance, because this game absolutely chugs when you're walking around Nazareth. Seriously, when I looked at an empty road, my FPS literally doubled. I don't know if any amount of divine intervention could make this game run better. Also, if I'm in Nazareth, why is there just a random, completely out of place Greek vase just chilling by Jesus' house? And I'm no historian, but I'm pretty sure they weren't speaking English in the Middle East during Jesus times. Like I mentioned earlier, 95% of this game just consists of walking around and talking to random characters from the Bible. Famous characters like Villager and John Follower. Oh, holy crap, it's the John Follower, the guy who invented following. Speaking of, you should follow, or rather, subscribe to the channel. I do all different kinds of videos on different games, both good and bad, and, well, okay, mostly bad, but I can't help it. Bad games have the funny.
Something in which you are severely lacking.
Anyway, if you like what you've seen so far, go ahead and smack that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me, and it does do a ton to help the channel grow.
Shameless plug over.
As shocking as this may sound, randomly wandering around the desert while you get jump scared by Bible verses doesn't make for very engaging gameplay. So the developers have thrown in mechanics to try and mix up the experience. I don't really know how to explain this, but Jesus having a Skyrim compass and inventory system and even a hunger meter is way more hilarious and slightly more baffling to me than seeing him fly around and shoot lasers like he did in the first game. But none of this compares to the later levels when you're using your Jesus powers to solve completely out of place physics puzzles or to destroy Satan's dark gems so you can open up more of the map like it's a Ubisoft game. And if you thought my Zelda comparisons were completely unfounded, just wait until you literally play death tennis with Satan. Truthfully, I think this game is trying to be serious, and it's that fact that makes all of these just seemingly out of place things, you know, like Satan boss fights, so much more hilarious. Focusing on Satan for a second, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say, they use the most generic depiction of the devil I have ever seen. He's either just a big ring of fire, or he looks like a rip-off Demogorgon from Stranger Things. And the voice acting is just so painfully cheesy.
Will betray you and kill you. I will wait for my time to come.
Speaking of voice acting just in general, you'd think with the production value that this game appears to have that they would be able to afford a subscription to Adobe Audition to mix their audio, but that definitely does not seem to be the case. It hits both extremes of either being far too quiet.
We have also been visited by angels throughout our lives.
Or ear-shatteringly loud.
I'm Simon. This is my brother Andrew in the boat.
Or, you know, the game could just use Siri instead of hiring a voice actor.
Now that you have defeated Satan, he has spread his sins and dark energy throughout the land.
But the absolute best part of this game is the fact that there's cheat codes, and you can use them to perform the most fantastical of miracles. Ever wanted to be 20 feet tall? With the holy power of console commands, anything is possible. Why don't you detach your head from your body and fly around to see the world from all new... Oh my. I didn't know when Jesus said his body was the bread, he was talking about cake. For real though, why do they model this much of Jesus? I mean, you're never, ever going to see him from this angle, so why is it here? I would have looked around in the front to see if anything was there, but I'm pretty sure my face would have melted off like when they opened up the Ark of the Covenant. Now, all of these games were unique in their own right, but none of them compare to our fourth and final game. Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between, I present to you the U Testament. This game is not only the most insane game of the video, but one of the most insane games I have ever played. Before we get started, I have to give this game props for having just so many depictions of Jesus. I mean, just look at all the different Jesus we have. Not just that, but this game has so many important biblical figures like John the Baptist, Lazarus, who looks like a mummy for some reason, Thor, and even Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, it makes sense. We already have so many different versions of Jesus. We might as well have Space Jesus too. This game even has 2 different versions of Satan. Since you can't actually play as Jesus in this one, I'll go ahead and just pick John the Baptist, since he was a major character in the last game we played. Alright, time to begin my adventure as one of the most important figures in biblical history. Better start my day off right with a healthy breakfast of corn. Oh wow, that was some juicy ass corn. And it certainly didn't help that John went all sloppy style on it. Well, there's not too much to do in this dump, so I'm gonna go find my own fun. Yeah, this isn't a joke. This is seriously the fast travel system in this game. You literally dig a hole in the ground and warp to a random part of the map. Ugh, curse these vile Romans and their taxes. I guess I'll pay it this time so I don't get 2 feet of steel up the pooper. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? I paid your friggin' taxes. All right, okay, buddy. That's how you want to do it. Fine. I'll show you why they call me John the Baptist when I baptize you in pain. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'll just immediately get arrested. That's fine. I hereby sentence John to be crucified. What? Well, this is a sight I never thought I would see. All right, so, well, that playthrough didn't work out. Let's try somebody else. Let's see, what about bootleg Kratos over here? Didymus? Like, did you mum? I tried my very best to be a good Christian in this playthrough because that's kind of the whole point of Jesus, but there is absolutely nothing else to do in this game aside from getting in fights with people. The only time I ever had anything different happen was when I did a playthrough as a Roman soldier, and that's just because the other Romans didn't treat me like human garbage. Oh my god, there he is! There he is! It's Satan! It's my duty as a Roman to take him down. Whoa! You're standing in the smack dab of Bethlehem, and you're audibly announcing you're friends with Satan? Gotta admit, that's pretty ballsy.
And here comes the Satan worshiper with a steel chair!
Holy sh**. That is way more gore than I was expecting from my Jesus games. I wish my Sunday school lessons as a kid were this epic because I would have been way more interested.
God? Is that you?
Yes, for your bravery in fighting through these terrible games, I have come to bless you with my most holy gift.
Oh, thank you, Lord. I will accept this so graciously. I don't want this. No.
Oh, I don't really know what to do now. You're like, kind of like the first person that's ever said this.
Yeah. No. Can you just take it back? Can you just
Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.